This is one of my stubby style hammers from way back in the day, and I've been going back to this hammer more and more of late. The steel, which was manufactured a while back, is a piece of Japanese medium carbon. A craftsman friend of mine here gave me this piece of handle wood, and he also shaped it for me to fit my hand. So every time I grab this hammer, I feel it's ergonomically perfect and the balance is just right. This sort of V shape between the thumb and forefinger is more natural than an open rounded position. So here's the hammer style that I currently sell. The handle length is about 13 inches compared to the 10 inches on this stubby style hammer. However, because I sit down when I forge, the longer length sort of puts me out of position, and I think that's why I really prefer a shorter handle length. So here I've made myself one of my YK30 steel hammers with a much shorter handle with a 10-inch handle length. I always had trouble mimicking how my friend shaped that handle, so I spent some extra time to try to get that right. A lot of blacksmithing purists will say you have to have a much longer handle to generate proper power, but I always choke up on any handle no matter what the tool. And this is a finesse hammer more than a prime mover. So here I'll give this hammer its maiden voyage while starting to fool around and make a tong. I think some people might say, well, just make the handle longer and you can always still choke up to where you feel comfortable, but that extra length on the back end seems to throw the balance off, for me at least. A small hammer can move a lot of metal, but I've been using this larger 4-pound newer one that I made and showed a little while back as my prime mover. But for this sort of stuff here, I don't think I could find a better hammer. If I were to describe it, I would say that this hammer just feels like an extension of my arm. Maybe something I'll touch on in another video is refining steel by hammering when cold. And a small hammer like this, with these light taps, can really make a difference on certain aspects of your project. So now the main part of this video. I want to show a twist that I did on the handle end of a port/wine tong. Just quickly, this is the latest version of guillotine tool I've been using. It differs a little bit than the one I'm selling in that the hardy shank on the new version here is detachable. I've made some small tweaks and changes to this tool that I think improve it. I've got to update my website, and I know that's something I've been saying for at least a year now, but I'll get to that soon. Just I prefer forging over computer work. I just used that piece of steel that flew away as a backstop, just so I can get the depth right on both pieces. I need to give a big shout out to John Bean for his latest generous donation, and also to Anthony Henderson for becoming my latest Patreon supporter. GS Tongs appreciates it very much. Thank you. So here's a much older version guillotine tool that I still frequently use. I've got a little bit of compare and contrast going on here. I'm using the older version now because the dies I want to use are these slot dies, and I haven't yet made a pair of these dies for the newer version. So I'm basically creating a cross. It does look a bit rough and a bit beat up here, but it'll all come together. With this 10mm rod and the size of the slots, the horizontals are going to be a little bit more protruded than the verticals, but that's what I want. I want to create high and low spots on this twist, which you'll see once I get to that part. When you're making things in pairs, if one seemingly seems to go awry, but the other one is exactly the same, then in my opinion, you're still in good shape. So I use my copper hammer here to just gently straighten things out without beating things down. Trust me, I've been known to beat things down, but I've also been known to take my share of beatings. Okay, now to twist these. Just keep in mind that when you twist things in pairs and you want consistency, make sure to count your rotations. Here it seems to go 1 and then a half. So I think you can see the high and the low spots. So I want to just hammer on the high spots to square them up a bit, but not make them that low. In this way, I'll have sort of a round twist embedded in a square twist. Now to let my new hammer sing and do its thing. Just a little old tappy to finish this out. I feel the high and low spots of this twist make it pretty interesting. Got a lot more fooling around to do.